What is up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Cologne, and this is my review for the February 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the City of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian underscore 180 on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Fanbase, Blue Sky. You can follow me on Facebook and everything. Man, tonight's AEW Dynamite. This was a very good episode of Dynamite. It really got you into the feels, so to speak, of what Revolution will be like. It really set the tone for like, okay, come Sunday at AEW Revolution, we're in for a good time. Like this is gonna be really fun. The ending of tonight's Dynamite, man, this was chef's kiss, man. This was very good, man. And shout out to Tony Khan and the rest of the creative team that he has there. Young Bucks, Darby, Sting, whoever thought of doing that and everything with Sting coming down from the rafters was, I loved it. I loved it. As a lifelong Sting fan, since he broke in with Jim Hellwick and the Blade Runners, I've been a huge fan of his. I loved it. It was just a great way to um, set the tone for Sting's last match going into Revolution. Um, it it was awesome. Now, let me get you the results before I break down the cute man. There was a lot of things that went on in this show, but before I do that, I am going to give you the results. So we had Sky Blue defeat Chris Statlander. You had Orange Cassidy defeat Nick Wayne. You had the Lionheart Chris Jericho defeat Atlantis Jr. And in the opening match, you had the Blackpool Combat Club defeat Eddie Kingston and FTR. Those were the matches. I was surprised that there was 4 matches because normally on AEW on average there's at least 5 matches. Sometimes on um, Dynamites where it's real wrestling centric heavy. Not saying that it isn't before that, but usually once in a while they'll have like 6 matches. But tonight they only had 4. It's like, oh wow, but it made sense. This was the fluidity for this show was really good. Nice highlight packages, um, hyping up Revolution and Big Business and everything. It does feel like they're going into a shift into a new direction with all the new people that they brought on, as far as backstage and everything and administration. So it does feel like a shift. The only thing, it's not so much a complaint, but more of a critique. I am interested to see what arenas they run after Revolution. And you could say after the Canadian, I believe, actually, no, because that's in May. I want to say after April or when April starts, like what arenas they go to, because tonight's Dynamite, the arena, like it was like the lighting was really weird. It wasn't bad or anything, but the opening shot of Dynamite, it looked like the upper level was empty. It was like, man, there's like nobody there. Like, wait a minute, it's only the bottom level. Then as the show went on, and you get shots of um, the upper level, it's filled to the rafters. I was like, man, that's weird. Like it was a really weird constructed arena, and that's something that I've noticed with AEW in the past. That a lot of the arenas that they were booking for Dynamite and Collision, it was just a really weirdly designed arena. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Hey, that's your crowd, whatever. But it was just really weird and everything. And of course, I know there's gonna be people. Look, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. In the mud. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, that's the only thing you're gonna focus on. It's like it's really backwards and twisted and everything. But yes, those were the results of AW Dynamite. Um, let's start it off, man. The way the show ended, Sting coming down from the rafters. So the way this was set up, the Young Bucks, they showed a video earlier on that they came in a black truck. They walked in through the back. They met with Renee Paquette. They told her, yeah, we want to, prepare him for his exit interview. And they had these baseball bats and they're walking through the arena. Then they get another shot of them going into Sting's dressing room, which when they opened it, nice callback to the last WCW Monday Nitro where there was bats hanging and he gave this promo before his last match on WCW with Ric Flair. Nice, man, nice homage to that. It was really cool. Then we get to um, the last portion of Dynamite, which is right after the Chris Jericho Atlantis Jr. match. Young Bucks head to the ring. Um, as they're going to the crowd or coming down the ramp, you see all these people with Sting masks. And right away, I'm like, Sting is either there or Darby Allin. And I'm like, it's probably Sting. Sting's going to hit him and they're going to brawl and everything. They're going to set it up. So the Young Bucks, they walk by and they're teasing the fans with the Sting mask. Darby just comes out of nowhere. He starts beating them up and everything. They get in the ring. The Young Bucks, or let me phrase that, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson start beating up Darby Allin. Then they start waving, to the back. All of a sudden, music hits. Ric Flair comes down, and it was pretty cool. But then at the same time, as I'm watching him come down, I'm like, yeah, man, this guy's he should have been there. Like he should have just came down instead of them calling him. But I kind of see the theatrics behind it because it was taking him a while to get to that ring, and it was interesting. He gets in the ring. They have a baseball bat, and the Young Bucks are like, "Yeah, hit him, hit him, hit him." And Ric Flair, he hits, I believe it was Nick Jackson in the eye. Then he punches Matt Jackson. Then Nick Jackson gives him the signature Ric Flair low blow with the forearm and everything. They start beating him up and everything. Music hits. Sting, it's his music. So everyone's just like, all right, where's Sting? Where's Sting? They go outside the ring, and they're just like, they go up the ramp, get a shot of Sting coming down from the rafters for one last time on Dynamite. Man, that was like, yes, yes. He gets in, he just starts beating them all up, gives, I believe it was one of the Jacksons, the Scorpion Death Drop, and he just looks around and he's looking at him, and oh man, you can tell by Sting's body language tonight. And man, safe travels, everybody getting there to Sting's last match and just making sure everything goes smoothly. But man, you can tell he has some stinger in him. We've heard Sting, but he has some stinger in him. And if you guys know back in the day when Sting would like get ramped up and just energetic and just fiery and everything, Jim Ross or Tony Schiavone would just say the stinger, like, here comes the stinger, here comes the stinger, and he would just rile up, and we're getting the stinger. We're getting Sting, but we're gonna get the stinger, and man, I'm really looking forward to that last match. It's hard for me to pinpoint if he's going to lose the match, but it's really hard to see him like go out losing, considering like it's the icon and just everything that he's done for AEW. I don't think Tony Khan or the Young Bucks want him to lose, because various reports from Fightful, PW Insider, and Wrestling Observer Radio, Sting's been adamant he doesn't want a title or he doesn't want this, but they wanted to give him the title, the tag title. And I don't know, for me personally, it would be cool if he goes out on top. Like it, of course, tradition is you pass on to the next generation, but I don't know. I think in this case it's just really unique. I think it would be something interesting if AEW did let him win on top, because it would just, the crowds are already going to be energetic. They're going to be in there. It's a sellout crowd. It's his last match. I think it's just going to be fun. I can't wait to see what's going to transpire at AEW Revolution this Sunday. But man, I am hyped to see Sting in his last match. As you can see above me, you got the Sting wrestling buddy. You got the Sting Galoob figure, the 12-inch. You got the Jack Pacific, and if you look over here and over here, you have the WCW Toy Biz Stings, which was I believe it was a 6-figure set. It was released right before WCW was purchased by WWF. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fun. Um, the Stinger, man, it's bittersweet because, man, he's like I said, he's been my favorite wrestler of all time. Just the face paint and just the energy, the athleticism, the quality of matches that he's had has just been fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it. Next thing that stood out, and man, this was a really cool way to, you could say, kick off. Yeah, it did kick off the show um, to some degree, and that was Hangman Page coming out. Now, this was really cool because there was speculation that he might miss the Revolution because of injury. Then there was other reports that, or let me say, it wasn't reports. It was speculation that Hangman Page would miss Revolution due to, um, personal matters or something like that. But he comes out, he walks on the crutch. Um, he mentions, I'm not going to apologize to Swerve or Samoa Joe. I will not be able to compete at AEW Revolution. Music hits, Swerves comes out. Um, there is a loud Who's House, Swerve House chants. He tells him, you can't escape fate or stop destiny. Samoa Joe comes out. Samoa Joe's like, uh, look at two bitter enemies trying to hug it out. He mentions really who is the real man around here. Should I call you Hopalong? Mentioning Hangman Page with his crutch. I'm going with both your asses. Swerve is like, I'll do whatever it takes to become AEW champion. He mentions all the things he did. Breaking into Hangman Page's house. Just all the villainous things that he's done. He's like, there's nothing that I would not do to become AEW World Champion. And then I love this remark he gave to Samoa Joe. He's like, I'll do whatever it takes to become AEW champion, and I might, after you lose the AEW World Championship, you can go back to commentary and wearing a poncho again. It's like, oh, giving him a shot back to when he was commentating at WrestleMania in Tampa a few years ago. And he mentions, I will become AEW World Champion. Once he says that, Hangman Page just comes right behind him and just hits him. It was like, oh man, hits him. They start, I shouldn't say they start brawling. Hangman Page just starts whipping. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Hangman Page swerve, so to speak. So I guess we are getting that match. I really liked that segment. It was really cool. It answered the speculation / rumors that were going around. Like, man, is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? Is it going to be go from a triple threat to a one-on-one match? What's going on here? So it answered that. It put to rest all those speculations and rumors. And then at the same time, you really, in this, what I got out of it and how I interpret it, like, this really elevated Swerve Strickland more as a face and Samoa Joe as the tweener and Hangman Page as a heel. So we're getting all three, if you want to call it, characteristics in wrestling: your face, your heel, and your tweener. Like, you got all three of them in this match. So I'm really interested to see who is going to come out of this as the AEW World Champion. For me, it's either Samoa Joe or Swerve Strickland. I don't see Hangman Page winning this match. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of this match because, man, like, Swerve has the crowd. Swerve has the crowd. He has the fans. Like, he's getting the loudest reaction in AEW, so to speak. So it's just like, do you pull that trigger of him being world champion now, or do you wait another month? Do you wait till April where there's reportedly a AEW pay per view that will be dropping, AEW Dynasty? It does, that is the speculation right now. Nothing has been finalized or confirmed yet. So, again, that is just speculation. So, are you going to wait to give Swerve the title in April, or are you going to pull the switch at Revolution? I don't know. But, again, another thing um, regarding AEW Revolution, I'm just like, man, I can't wait to see this because I'm a fan of all three guys, so I'm just like, okay, I just want to see how this plays out because, man, this is gonna be really good. Next thing that I really liked on this show was Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay showing up in AEW. He finally arrived. He looked good. He looked to be in good spirits. Tony Schiavone, he welcomes him. Ospreay has this really interesting hug. He just, come on, come on, come on, come on, and hugs him. He mentions my obligations are done in New Japan. Um, I kind of look like Kermit the Frog on leg day because he had this green jumpsuit. Um, I'm here to work full time, baby. There's Ospreay chants. He mentions this isn't my first rodeo. He's like, I beat Orange Cassidy at the first Forbidden Door. I beat Kenny Omega at the second Forbidden Door. And then I pinned Chris Jericho at All In Wembley. Mentions that he's like, everything has been going smoothly in the Don Callis family. Don Callis comes out with the family, Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs. Callis mentions, you had Omega, you had Jericho. How will we top it? There's loud "you suck" chants. Like, people just despise Don Callis. Um, and he's like, we're going to have the match of the decade. We're going to have the best rope to rope wrestlers, Takeshita and Ospreay. This is like, he refers to this like Jordan Pippen in practice, but then when they get into the real game, they win championships. So it's like, yeah, you're saying that, but it's not coming off like that. So he mentions it doesn't matter who's it wins. That's what he was emphasizing. It doesn't matter who wins. And it's just like, yeah, it does matter who wins. That's okay. We kind of see where this is going. So both men shake hands, and Ospreay tries to walk away, and Takeshita keeps holding his hand. Takeshita tries to walk away, and Ospreay, uh, holds him back, and they just stare at each other, and then they walk away, and then you got Hobbs, he dabs Ospreay and everything. I think we're getting the possibly the Don Callis family versus the United Kingdom, or, and this is something to think about, folks, we could be seeing the prelude to the introduction to Kazuchika Okada, tagging with Will Ospreay against the Don Callis family. That could be something that happens. I wouldn't be surprised. It could happen. It makes sense considering all the everything that took place in this segment and just how the mannerisms were. Okada and Ospreay versus Takeshi and Powerhouse Hobbs. Damn, that's a pretty solid match. I mean, you get Okada and Powerhouse Hobbs, you get Okada and Takeshita. That's a pretty solid, matches right there. Again, I could see some people like, that just doesn't. Man, I hope that isn't how you introduce Okada and this. Again, that could be something that happens, but the most logical thing that people do see, and I see it as well, is that we're going to get the United Empire versus the Don Callis family. I believe that's just how it's going to be. Don Callis did mention, months ago about more members being added to the Don Callis family. I believe that was either before or after Sammy Guevara left. I can't remember what it was, but he did mention more members, so we'll see what happens. But Ospreay versus Takeshita should be a chef's kiss. Like, this pay-per-view for AEW Revolution this is a solid pay-per-view. The next thing that stood out, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan. God, a lot of people have been doing that lately. Bryan Danielson sends a message to Eddie Kingston. This was a brawl, man. This was very fascinating. I loved it. I loved the aggression. Um, there was just they were just every other moment they were just brawling. I know someone mentioned like they see why people complain about AEW's referees because they don't enforce the rules. You got guys that are aggressive and it's wrestling. You think they're going to enforce rules? No. Not saying that it doesn't make sense. I could see why people. It's like, man, come on. Like, I didn't think about that. I was like, man, like, is this a tornado tag match or like, huh? Like, it's like, that kind of doesn't make sense. But then at the same time, it's just like, it is what it is. Make it make sense. But no, this was a solid match. I recommend you guys go watch this match. This was a really good match. But man, in the end, towards the end of the match, um, you had Mox and uh, Eddie Kingston face to face, and that's an interesting thing that most people kind of overlook is because they do have that history and they always bring it up where it's just like they're two friends who are on opposite ends of the spectrum that come together and it's like, man, I have to fight you because we're in the match, but I don't want to fight you because we're friends. It's that dichotomy. It's just like, ooh, man, it's really interesting. Like it's a story that's being told in the ring that from their promos and everything. It's like, okay, now I see why they're doing this, and that. Um, you had Danielson hit the running knee on Eddie Kingston. After that, then you had Danielson lift his arms and just start kicking him in the head. Then he trapped him into the triangle sleeper, and then he goes like this. And then Eddie Kingston just like he couldn't respond. They just called the match. That was it, and he beat him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that match is going to be between Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson for the AEW Continental Crown. That's a solid match, man. So you already got Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. You have Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. You have Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. Then you have FTR versus John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. You have Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. You're more than likely going to have what's the other match? Women's match. Chris Statlander and Sky Blue, I believe. I'm not sure. And then going into the last thing that I want to talk about in this review, and they mentioned it. Tony Khan tweeted, like his tweet was kind of like worded, kind of confused a lot of people. Like, okay, you had to change the Meat Madness match because participants weren't healthy, but then the participants who were in the Meat Madness or advertised in the Meat Madness match are in this all-star 8-man scramble match, which I could see why people were confused, but it was clarified that there were more people going to be added. I honestly think the Meat Madness match, the reason why it got canceled was because he mentioned, people that were injured and weren't medically cleared. It's like Keith Lee. They were going to bring back Keith Lee, and it's like, man, he's not ready yet. It's like, damn. So that's what leads me to believe, like, eventually we're going to see Keith Lee come back, as well as Big Cass. So I'm like, okay, there's two guys that I could see that aren't ready for this match, and I'm like, man, okay, you have that. Then you could have had freaking Big Show in the match. So it's like, okay, that's another person. It's like, okay, I see where this goes. But man, we're getting the 8-man All-Star Scramble match at Revolution. I didn't hear anything as far as clarity as far as the match stipulation and how this plays out. Is it just 8 guys in the ring and they're just beating each other up, and then that's it? So the match type wasn't explained. The details in the match, how the wrestler wins, is it everybody at once? That nothing was explained. So I expect that in the next coming days before Revolution, we should get some clarification as far as the 8-man All-Star Scramble match. hopefully in the next couple of days. I hope it isn't at Revolution. They explain it's like, okay, we don't know who's winning or what have you, but it is what it is. But right now you have Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Wardlow, Hook, Brian Cage, and 2 slots to be determined. They will be determined in 2 qualifying matches. 1 match on Rampage with Magnus versus Matt Sydal, and then on Collision, you're getting a triple threat match with Penta El Zero Medio. Oh man, how did I screw that name up? Brian Keith and Dante Martin, and the winner receives a shot at the AEW World Title. That's what it was presented. It was like, okay, so this be cool. I think Wardlow's just winning the thing. I think he's gonna win. Um, I think we're gonna see an interaction between Hobbs and Wardlow. I think those are gonna be the 2 studs that come out this match. And it's like, okay, these are the guys that are going forward. It's going to be interesting how this pay-per-view plays out, AEW Revolution. But, man, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun pay-per-view. This episode of Dynamite, man, this was a fun episode. So, just to give you guys a brief recap of what else happened, Chris Jericho, he hyped up why, or he actually clarified why he wanted this match because of his history with Atlanta Senior, going back to CMLL. That was really cool. They gave out, or they showed video of Jericho competing in CMLL like 30 years ago. I was like, yo, that's pretty cool. The Orange Cassidy Nick Wayne match, that was really cool. Post-match, Roderick Strong attacked Orange Cassidy, so building up to that match at Revolution. You had a interview with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I just wish we already get to the damn split or turn, whatever the hell's happening, because it's just, they're there, but it's just like, can we speed this up? Like, can we hit fast forward to when things actually mean something? Because right now, it's just being presented like, I don't want to, you could say meaningless. It's just directionless. There you go. Like, there's no direction. Like, we don't know what direction they're going. And right now, for me, I'm not invested in the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Like, I love Jay White. I love the Acclaim, but it's just like, okay, this just isn't clicking. And like, can you like speed this up already to get it where it means something? Because all these guys are talented, and it's just like they should be doing more than what they're doing here. Chris Stanley versus Sky Blue. This was a phenomenal match. Go out of your way, check this match out. Stokely Hathaway, he costed the match, man. He cost Chris Stanley the match, pulled out a chain. Ref got distracted. Julia Hart hit Chris Stanley with the TBS title. Sky Blue hit the Blue Thunder, Pender, 1, 2, 3, or Cold Blue, 1, 2, 3. She wins, so that adds to the storyline between Chris Stanlander, Willow, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. So that's very interesting. Of course, Jericho beat Atlantis Jr. because Atlantis Sr. threw in a towel from the walls of Jericho that Chris Jericho had applied on Atlantis Jr. But outside of that, man, this was a fun episode of Dynamite. This wasn't like, oh my God, this was amazing. Like, it's just intense. Like I said at the beginning of this interview review, it does feel like we're heading towards a shift in AEW. And I mean, like, you sense the shift that AEW is going in. And I tweeted this, that this does feel like the season finale, that Revolution is the season finale, and we're heading into the season finale of all these stories, and we're starting like this new season, this new era, this new shift in AEW. And of course, after Revolution, the first Dynamite will be, we'll see the new set. So tonight was the last Dynamite with the current setup, so we'll see the new set of AEW Dynamite. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen the logo for the Canada show. I was like, but seeing like the E part of what could be the logo, I was like, ooh, that looks pretty interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But man, I'm really looking forward to AEW Revolution. A lot of great matches, and of course, my man Sting, man, his last match. this is going to be fun. But that is my review for the February 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the City of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian _180 on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or not so much Snapchat. Blue Sky Fanbase. You can follow me on Facebook and everything. But man, we're eating good. TNA Impact looks good. Friday on SmackDown, The Rock's coming back. His response to Cody Rhodes. That should be interesting. Then you got Rampage for the 2 final spots. You got Collision. Then you have Revolution. You got Wild Women of Wrestling on Saturday here in Chicago. But I'm loving pro wrestling, man. This is fun. Man, this was just fun. That's how wrestling should be. It should be fun. So with that, folks, until next time, I'm out.